Support comes from Sunday Morning Cafe, presenting Resilience and Creativity, a concert and interview with Royce Martin, creator of Swag Time, and resilience researcher Dr. Tom Wagner on August 2nd, sundaymorningcafe.com.
This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha. This Saturday, WerQfest returns to the Grove Business District to celebrate Black queer music and culture in St. Louis. The 2026 theme of this annual event is Express Yourself. That theme has animated every WerQfest since 2020, when it created space expressly for St. Louisans who identify as Black and queer to be their authentic selves, and has continued to do so by fostering community with music, providing resources, and showcasing the talent St. Louis has to offer. Trayvon Griffith, also known as Tre G, is co-founder of WerQfest, and he joins us now. Trey, welcome back to St. Louis on the Air.
Hi, thank you.
And we're also joined by Stacey Reynolds, better known as Volume Speaks. Volume is a musician and one of the performers at this year's WerQfest. Volume, welcome back to you as well.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
So let's start with the why, Trey. So as we've just noted, WerQfest got started 6 years ago. What was the impetus for it, and what did it consist of at that time?
At that time, it was literally just a stream on Twitch, actually. It was something fun to do. I had no idea it would turn into what it is today. I just wanted to get my friends who hadn't necessarily had performances in a little while, and for us to get together around a cause. And here we are 6 years later.
Mm-hmm. How many people were involved then?
I think that lineup maybe had about 8 or so, but we had pre-recorded performances for majority of the first WerQfest. So a lot of it actually wasn't even live.
Yeah. Was it immediately apparent that there was a future for WerQfest? You said it was on Twitch. I mean, were there calls for this to be remounted?
Yes. So that is actually why we ended up having another iteration that became live. I was not going to do WerQfest, and I think a lot of people started to ask, hey, like, whatever happened to that festival that you started, like, on Twitch? And I was like, oh, it was just a little fun thing to do. And a lot of my friends actually just encouraged me to actually go back and revisit the idea. Mm-hmm. And so we decided to do our first live in-person festival the next year.
And where did that first one happen in person?
The first in-person festival ended up in Tower Grove Park. And it was a reschedule from an original location that was supposed to be at City Foundry, but we got rained out.
Okay. A very St. Louis story. So you've been to a number of locations over the years. What other signs were there that there was a hunger for what you were doing?
I think the response in general, even the community that we've started to build with artists, we have a submission process now where we open up submissions to emerging artists, literally from St. Louis and all over to apply. This year was our largest submission yet. We had over 100 people submit to be a part of WerQfest. Mm-hmm. So we've just started to see that maybe it's not even just a St. Louis thing, and it's a Black queer artist thing, and that that this could be a stage and a platform for a lot of artists.
Mm-hmm. Volume, what was your first experience of WerQfest?
I was actually there at the Tower Grove, like the first one where you had it live. So I remember that, and I have been there every year. Mm-hmm. Either I'm like watching or like involved with a performance. Like this is my first year where I'm there doing my own thing, but I was there at Tower Grove Park. I remember that. It was so cool, like just seeing its inception and the excitement people had, and the fact that people waited. Like they waited to see every last performer. I don't think people were like leaving. They waited for everybody. Because I think you headlined that night.
I did.
And like they waited for you. So I just love the excitement of people just embracing queer art, because there's not a lot of places that showcase that, outside of Pride at least.
Yeah. Why do you think something like that had not happened before? I mean, this is a question for either of you.
I don't know. Maybe it's just about to do something like this, it takes consistency in terms of like dedication. And I don't know if anybody's necessarily cultivated the community in that way in a while. I think when I was young, there were, leaders, but, now they have either passed on or they don't necessarily lead in the same way. So I think it was just a void in terms of like the gap of just who would take the baton, I guess.
Right. And I think it was also like timing as well, because like it was the right time. I know you have a lot of like connections and good relations, so like it was the perfect time to be like, okay, I'm going to use what I have in the hometown to like, elevate the thing that I'm a part of, which is queer Black music.
How would you describe the vibe or the artistry that people experience at WerQfest Volume?
I can't even like have one particular word. Like I think it's a variation of many genres. You can't just expect to find one genre. Oh, it's going to be twerk music. No. Oh, it's just going to be electronic. No. Oh, it's going to be just hip hop. No, it is queer music. So if you think that it can be made and played, it will be.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that in general, we try to program a spectrum of what our creativity looks like, because it really isn't like a monolith. Like it's not all just one linear thing. So I think that we can say that about ourselves and people and how we express ourselves, but also in general our creativity. So I think it's important that it has that spectrum of a lens and it isn't necessarily like narrow-minded.
Right. How has WerQfest changed over time, specifically to keep up with the times?
I think that how has it changed? It has changed in terms of how we deal with, I guess, community. I think that we've learned over the years, we've learned what works, what doesn't work, what our community needs, what are those things that we can do to void and feel that thing. I think that is the most that it isn't changed, but I wouldn't necessarily even say that it is changed. I think it's more so just evolved.
Absolutely. And I think that it helps with like it's just a bigger umbrella of things, because I know this year you're incorporating production with the beat battle, which I appreciate, because I feel like not a lot of queer producers are seen and heard outside of, you hear the track, but you're not like, oh, a queer producer made that. Like K Tronada is doing phenomenal things. So to highlight that specific thing within this festival is amazing to me. And I also appreciate the performance level. Like it elevates every single year with the people that you book and the people that apply, because they know what it takes to be on that stage. And it's not an easy feat. Like you said, it was over 100 applicants, but for you to be chosen, that means that you're not only putting in the work, but the passion is there and the consistency that you spoke of is there. Yeah.
And we're going to get to the point that you had made about queer producers in just a bit. But WerQfest last year, Tre, you came on last year with Galladay to talk about it, and you had shared then that 2025's WerQfest almost didn't happen. You said getting it together required a significant amount of hustle over a relatively short period of time. And, thanks be, year 6 went off and it was popping. What sort of support made that possible? Partners really make it in general. A lot of our what we do is grassroots. A lot of people, I know that we have built this great brand that a lot of people revere, but it's literally just me and my partner, like behind a keyboard in the dark sometimes on our computers, just really reaching out to people, reaching out to show ourselves, our stories, our community stories, and how can we work together to uplift this community. So it's really just finding those people who really believe in the vision, who support the community in that way. And I think that that's important for us to align ourselves with those type of people, or organizations or brands. Yeah. I mean, it seems that you would have looked for those partnerships regardless of how much time you had. Were there certain supporters who came out in a really special way that maybe would not have been partners in similar fashion when you started? Yes, I think that, one particular partner here in St. Louis is the St. Louis Health Department.
they have actually been very vital to the success of WerQfest, especially in the last few years. They've always kind of supported us in a small iteration, but I think over the years they saw the importance of what we were building, and they also wanted to be a part of the story. And just this past summer, we actually programmed a stage at Pride because they have a section that they produce at Pride called The Hive. So WerQfest had a stage at the Hive for Pride this year. So, just building those type of things so that we can expand even past just the one day a year. And I think that a perfect example of what you said, I think the St. Louis Health Department. But, there's always been people, like even in our first iteration, the Kransbergs gave us our first venue to do the stream. So, in general, we've really built this community with people in St. Louis who care and support. And they're just a phone call away.
So there's been continuation, there's been evolution, and back to queer producers. Something that is new to WerQfest this year is a beat competition.
Yes.
So Volume, for the uninitiated, can you provide a quick explanation of what a beat competition is?
Okay, so if you're familiar with rap battles where they go back and forth like bar for bar, rapper to rapper, it's like that but with production. So for example, I had Lexi Beats was on here with me before, and we've battled each other and things like that. So she'll play her beat I'll play my beat, and we just go head to head. There's usually 4 judges, and then the audience is the 5th judge, the tiebreaker. And we usually do those through Fresh Produce. Yeah.
So Volume, as one of the headliners this year at WerQfest, you're actually pulling double duty.
Yes.
Because you're the host of the festival's beat competition.
Yes.
I love Fresh Produce. But before the beat competition happens, you're going to have a solo set with your own original music.
Yes.
So let's take a listen to one of your songs, Champ-ish.
Okay.
And that was Champ-ish, one of Volume Speak's original songs to be performed at this year's WerQfest, which is this Saturday at Atomic by Jamo. So Volume, what are you excited most about performing and then hosting a beat competition at the WerQfest?
I'm super excited to showcase my beats, but also show people how beat sets are done. I think that is a hidden art form that a lot of people neglect because they're like, oh, well, DJs can just play beats. Yeah, but it's different than like making your own craft and sharing it with the people as opposed to sharing other people's arts. So I'm really excited about that. But being able to help platform other queer producers just warms my heart. I've been really wanting to see other people and their sounds flow through St. Louis because I think that St. Louis doesn't have a particular sound. It's a gateway sound, and it just feeds everybody.
Gateway sound?
Yeah.
Like it just opens things up?
Yeah, it opens things up for other things, It's not just one genre. It's many. So, yeah.
We're talking today with Stacey Reynolds, better known as Volume Speaks, and Trayvon Griffith, also known as Tre G, who's the co-founder of WerQfest. WerQfest is happening this weekend, and a beat competition will be a new addition to what people can enjoy. Whose idea was it to have a beat competition? Is this one of those situations where, Volume, you made a case, and Trey, you said, let's do it?
That's exactly what
That's literally what happened. Yeah.
Did it happen like formally or like when you were out just doing life?
So I've always wanted Volume to do something in particular, and we always see each other out in community all the time, and we love on each other all the time. But she submitted, and she said that she wanted to do her first beat set, and she was like, and I think that you should do this at WerQfest. And I'm like, yeah, we should. And then we started to think about this whole idea of like how we can actually uplift some other producers at the same time. And she has been a champion of beat competitions before. So what perfect way to highlight this great Black queer producer by also highlighting others at the same time. Thank you. So
Volume, do you think people have a better understanding of what it means to be a producer? If this opportunity had arisen like 3 years ago, would folks be, would they be ready for it? Would they understand what it is?
I think not the entire audience, no, not in particularly. I think there are some people that will be familiar with it and welcoming to it, but it probably not as big as it is now. I would personally like to thank Metro Boomin for that, because he's been doing a lot of like instrumental albums and things like that to kind of push that. And Kaytranada is a queer artist and producer and DJ who's been doing a lot of like beat tapes and things like that in the last couple of years. So I think by them building that audience, it's helping me to be able to like give that platform, So yeah.
The theme or the focus for this year is femme power. And Tre, on Instagram you shared, express yourself is the theme, but then this femme performer focus is quite apparent. Yeah. This year's headliner is JT, a woman rapper formerly of the rap duo City Girls from Miami-Dade County, Florida. And JT's also the first mainstream woman headliner at WerQfest. Why was it important to focus on femme performers?
That was a very intentional thing, especially by my co-founder, Shelton. We've had this conversation over the years in how our communities centers men a lot in our experience, and also us being men, being the founders of an organization that is supposed to serve the whole spectrum of what it means to be queer, that is important for our representation to also look like that. So we've always been intentional about it, and we've actually tried to get a female headliner in the past, and it just didn't work out. But this year we were very intentional about who we reached out to, and we love that JT decided to join us, and she's excited to come to St. Louis. She hasn't really been here, and especially not by herself, and that the fact that she's an ally and she's been able to use her star power to like kind of uplift what we're doing here in St. Louis.
How is femme defined within the WerQfest world? I mean, yes, related to femininity, but what else is behind that goes beyond simply female? Volume, do you want to speak to that?
You said like more than just the femininity. That's a hard question.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like this is something that is certainly up for conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
And for experiencing when you're there. I mean, so from the planner's perspective, Tre, what is femme beyond sort of the conventional or traditional definition of femininity?
Yes. There's artists who live in this androgyny space. We also have members who are non-binary or identify in the spectrum in general. So yeah, you're right. Femme doesn't necessarily have to look like this female perspective, but it also does give femininity, and it gives all of these different things.
Absolutely.
It's expressed through ballroom in different ways, in terms of the different categories. It is in terms of, like we say, the representation of producers. Right. Just like how we have a Christopher Lay who kind of lives in this androgynous kind of space. Yes. And somebody could possibly say that is femme forward, even if he doesn't necessarily identify as such. But so just playing on this identification of like what it means for that particular visual element to be very present, and what kind of story that we want to tell to our audiences. And like you said, maybe start the conversation that maybe this is something that should happen often.
Yeah. What do you think, Volume?
Well, outside of like clothes and fashion and that, it's just like definitely more of a way that you carry yourself in the feminine spectrum. I consider myself to be an androgynous, so like I could put on a dress and be a baddie, but I choose to be in tomboy clothes because that's just my comfort. But still a woman underneath. It's just sapphic to the utmost. I'm very sapphic, centered. So yeah.
And you said androgynous?
Yes.
Yes, I love that. So last year when Galladay was on the show with us, he said something about folks needing to come ready with a sweat rag because WerQfest lives up to its work name. What is, one thing, tangible or otherwise, that people can prepare to enjoy, and appreciate what WerQfest has to offer? Tre?
We have been saying a phrase on social media lately, meet me on the dance floor. I really feel like that is what WerQfest is. And dance floor can be your escape. It can be what we're all running to. Maybe it's the place that we desire to be. It's worship in a way. It's church. It's release. It's community. It's a big family reunion.
Yes. For me, oh gosh. Like, you're definitely going to be on the dance floor all night. But for me, I'm excited for the afties.
Oh, and the afties?
The afties. I know Tre Hits is about to set that floor on fire. But I agree with Tre. Like, just be ready to leave it all on the dance floor. Like, the things of the week, your bills, your troubles, your worries. You're just going to want to, like, shake it all off and just be ready for just the eccentric energy that is WerQfest. Yeah.
Is there anything that you think people should know about what they can enjoy this time in the community sense that feels especially necessary in this moment?
Yes, I think that the representation of the different organizations that will be present, like Promo, who'll be doing a lot of advocacy work. There are a lot of things that are happening in legislation that we need to know about, and that it's a perfect time for us all to start having those conversations. The health department will be there. You can get free testing. We've also had an initiative with other organizations where you can get a free ticket if you went to go get tested before the festival. So yeah, a lot of different things that will be present. Self-reduction harm. Self-harm reduction. We'll be doing things of that nature, and a lot of different resources that in general the community can just have and know that is out there and that they're there for their support.
Right. I think it's a wonderful safe space too, as well as like an extension outside of Pride for people to be able to go and find other people like them and meet other people in those spaces. Because I know sometimes as adults, it's not always easy to make friends. So it's a great place to make friends and things along those lines. Yeah.
Volume speaks as a musician and one of the performers for this year's WerQfest, and Trayvon Griffith, also known as Tre G, is WerQfest's co-founder. Tre and Volume, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
WerQfest is this Saturday, July 11th at Atomic by Jammo. Tickets are on sale and can be found at WerQfest.com.
This episode was produced by Maya Norfleet.
Our audio engineer is Aaron Dorr. This podcast was mixed and edited by Aaron.
Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations, and leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thank you.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Hi, I'm Laura Hamden, and my colleague Jessica Rogan and I are your daily hosts of the Gateway newsletter. We meet with the editors in the STLPR newsroom every weekday to bring you the top local stories of the day in a quick and easy 6-minute read by 6 a.m. In an age of overwhelm, it's a refreshing, thoughtful take on the news day, if we do say so ourselves. Fine-tune your daily news habit with the Gateway newsletter. Subscribe at stlpr.org/gateway.